All right. All right. I'm opening Golang after 1 or 2 weeks that apparently they released a new version for 2026. Um, I was giving up on, and I still giving up slightly on the JetBrains tools like Golang, and I started to work on NeoVim. But and it's great, and I'm learning that. Now I spent 1 or 2 weeks. But now I got to a point where Game Hunger has some issues already during development. Has what one could say call I would say technical debt. Not really. Just I need to do some changes a little bit heavier, and I think I want to use a more an IDE that I'm more proficient. It's here as I use JetBrains editors, and then I will jump back to using NeoVim because it's lighter weight in theory. No, it is, but it does consume quite a lot of RAM. It's not for free for sure. Anyways, what is the problem? What I wanted to do today. Sorry, no. Actually, I want to have a look at the moment what's new. I see already they've done some changes on the UI. Not sure if I particularly like it. Everything is more rounded, but it's not really a big deal. Yeah, everything is like seems cleaner. But yeah, we'll see if they improved a bit the JetBrains because lately was doing a lot of issues. Let me just quickly check here. What's around? See what you call can be. It's definitely the generally speaking the JetBrains tool. It's really, really powerful in refactoring and actually developer experience. What is this? Start single update from anywhere in the IDE. What is this? What? It's quite interesting. So you go to refactor. Modernization does not have to stop the single quick fix. Once you update one occurrence, you can smash it. Golang provides several entry points so you can start with. Oh, fuck. Sorry. I do. The randomness. So you can have update syntax depending on the version. That's really cool. That's really cool. Review and apply bulk updates with a diff preview. Okay. Cloud infrastructure. Terraform. Well, let's hope they improve a little bit this year. Because last year, 2025, the JetBrains. Good. Anyways, let's jump into what I wanted to do. Before I go back and work with NeoVim, I wanted to have a few sessions to clean up a bit the mess I've done. Not too much mess, but there is something, and I wanted to work a little bit faster now. So using Golang, I believe it's just better. And actually, where I wanted to, and this session is going to be different, by the way. I'm actually not going to work yet in Game Hunger. I do that tomorrow, but based on the 1 or 2 hours I'm working today, I want to review the errors handling that I'm doing. First of all, and I know that it's based on my pure knowledge of Golang. I know the basics, but as we know, basics aren't enough for production-ready applications, in my opinion. And having good practices without going crazy in abstraction, which now I hope I won't. So it's easy to talk now, but yeah. That's the promise. No too many abstractions, simplicity, but yet having a solid approach, solid code, maintainable. Now, what is one of the main problems? First of all, I'm using this a mismatch of this type of errors. Somewhere in the code, I'm just returning straight and errors, a little bit less, but yes, just the basic errors new, which is cool, but it's limiting. It's limiting for what I'm doing here. And a mixed match of where is it? Of this errors type. Here you can see, look, here I have one error defined as using errors.new, and here instead of using a struct, which implements the error interface, and therefore this becomes an error. This, if I'm not wrong, is to make it so that he knows. I think it's for the error as or error is, and this is for error is, so that you can see if this could make a type inferring it infer the type, and so that's one of the problem. Now, the problem I'm having is especially on web applications, and I mean Golang. It's not only web applications, but it's one of the main use cases of Golang is web application backends. As you can see, then I'm using quite nested folder structure. But again, even if it wasn't, it's not about the folder structure, and it can be good or bad practice in Golang. At the moment, I don't really care too much. Is what I'm doing right now. But it's kind of the problem of having a deep nested layer of errors somewhere in the code, and he has to bubble up. Actually, let's just do an Excalibur right now, because I want to show, and I have an idea to create a package, by the way, of this. I had an idea later on to solve this. But first I want to, in this session, is to learn if this theory is correct, what implies that, what's going to be the digital distance. First, I'm going to go to my Go example and do some experiments to understand what I can do with error structs. The error structs is probably what I want to use. Some error structs, some functionality, understand how they behave. Once that is done, and if I'm happy with that, because I may not be happy, start to redo that and experiment a bit with my idea. If that works out, I may deviate a little bit to the creation of Game Hunger, and actually I want to create a package, which I don't know yet the name, because I think it should be reusable. It's going to be having a meat license, so anybody can use it. But initially just for me, and I think I want to create a way to just create quickly errors, have a lot of boilerplate. Because I think for what I want to do, I need some bit of boilerplate, maybe some functions. And so that I can import it, and that would just work out of the box. Now, let's describe what the problem I'm facing. I need to do the zoomy for YouTube. Anyways, what I'm facing, between many of my psychological problems, let's put this here. Actually, I can just do Go error handling theory. Right. Let's go. We have. Let's go with this thing. So we have an application. Okay. This is our app. Okay. Can I just right here? Why is not? Okay, yeah. App. This is the entry point of the application. Good. Then the application. It doesn't matter. It goes to some level, right? You call something. Let's call it. Okay, this is a controller. Okay, or the handler endpoint, right? And then the controller may call a service, and then the service may have duplicated, may have some dependencies, right? In each service, actually, it's called the service A. No, because actually in my case, I have a service that uses other services as well, right? So is depending on those. But then the service uses maybe a repository, which actually use a database. Actually, let's just do this quickly because it's not quickly. It's about, I want to replicate this multiple times to just show the nestness, how nastiness this can become, right? I think I want to visualize this myself because I'm not sure if this time we duplicate 3 times. So this becomes service B, and this is service A. I don't know. This actually becomes a group, and a group. Okay, so we got service A, which then uses also service B, and at some point service C. Now let's hook everything with some arrows just to show what type of mental problem I have. Right. So actually, let's use the use case I'm having right now. Let's do it, a cool color, orange. We account registration. Just to do my account registration, right? I'm using kind of this pattern, right? And I'm using this pattern just because I want each one of all of this stuff. This should be black. Okay, so once let's actually make a different color of this. Hello, just to just show better situation. Good. So now imagine that now an error. Let's go. Let's make this an X like that. Not even exception, error, right? So it's more Golang friendly. It talks more Golang type. Imagine error. It's here. Error db x, right? Just some kind of error. And I'm okay to catch it here, right? And here it becomes, once you reach here, I could and I will want to create a business, a custom error. Make it a little bit different, look more on the purple and the color purplish. Custom error db. Okay. From here, though, this thing has to bubble up. It will go here, then it goes here, then it could, and I need to stop this is a request. Okay. Can I make it bigger? Okay, no, sorry. Okay. The arrow was good. Can't increase the size of this. So it's kind of has to bubble up. And just a second, huh? But imagine that this error either, and here is I have a question. What can I do with this? Right? Actually, we eliminate this. On custom DB, right? On this custom DB, which you said is like this purplish color. What do we do? Either we could return a 400 error, or return 500 error, right? So I have to take a decision at some point, right? I need to take a decision and say, okay, which error? And on top of this I may do other things. For example, do I need to log? Because if it's a 400 error, for example, the user, and I know that 400 errors should be caught here, but sometimes you can't because sometimes even okay. Imagine you try to create an account and already exists. The correct error is 409, right? Could be 409. It depends, but I think 409 is a conflict error. Normally you would want to return that. Good. And question mark, put in red. Okay. What to do here? What to do? So, last thing, and then I'm done with this little. So, what was I saying? Okay, so I need to return an error. So, and that actually is something that may be caused by the database. And you say, well, but you could control in the service if the account exists. Yes, I can, but there may be race conditions, and sometimes that same kind of error, which would be in the database point of view, let's imagine we actually have like account exists, right? Sure, you could catch this on here. You could catch it on here because maybe you have rest conditions, right? Now with account, maybe this happens less, but you can understand that you have either two ways: or you check the account exists, or once the database try to create, it's doing I'm using Postgres. So Postgres unique key exception. What is it called? Yeah, unique key value constraints, right? It could be let's set here. Let's so the actually error would have been maybe unique key. This goes here, bubbles up. Okay. And I know to do this. I can do that, and I can know, okay, this resource already exist. In this case, it would be a 409. But let's imagine I have another database error, different one. So now, anyways, I could check in the service here all type of errors. It's this type of error. It's duplicate key error. What is it? Or should I check it in here? But either way, I need to have an additional mapping, right? I need to have like an additional map. The way, at least the way I set up things up for now. And then with additional mapping, I need to do things. And then I need to return a different error and maybe log. Maybe I don't want to log because most of 409, I don't want to log them as an error for sure. In some cases, yes, but maximum warn in most cases debug. I don't want to have verbose useless errors, right? But in some cases, for example, at the moment, at some level, I want to log it, and then I want to bubble it up because maybe it logs something in here, and then you bubble it up. But here, for some whatever reason, I need to still check the error, right? I need to still check, and I may need to do something depending on the error. For example, actually, I have a good example. On account registration, the happy path, like the path where the account will be registered, is where then it goes to the account repository, and the repository will return an error of the account does not exist. It could be nil, but it doesn't matter. In this case, account does not exist. In that case, I want to carry on. So I want to ignore the error, but I need to check. But in the case of like login, that's when I need to return a 400. Sorry, well, it will be maybe a 404, right? Because the account does not exist. So same error, different logic. But now it's fine. When it comes to the problem, though, is that when it comes to the controller, because I need to understand the error, what it returns, what we want to return back to the client based on the error. And I start with so many different type of errors, and I want to kind of map them when they have 500 and 400. And 500 errors, I don't want to give enough information back, especially for 500 errors. There may be even discussions where you don't want the 400 errors to return enough information to the client, right? To avoid hackers, right? And stuff like that. So in order to do this, at the moment, this would not work, and I need to do quite a lot of changes on the structure of the code and on the test, because in all of this also I'm thinking about testing. Okay, I'm doing something already about this. Yes, like and it works. So error return. I want to rename it. I need to fix a bit, right? And it just works because here, for example, on the record is not found, what I'm expecting, an error not found. And in this case, it's if I found this, if I actually get an error not found, the test pass, because that's what I want. Good, I hope maybe it's more clear, probably not. So what I will do, I will not work on the Go example, I want Go Hanger. I want to do some theory and experiments on the Go examples. Okay, so that's what I'm gonna be doing. I only have one Golang, for instance. Yes, okay. This repository, you can find it in my GitHub page, and this is where I put very simple examples of Golang. I created this like last year, so we grow more in future. So now, yeah, this is the repository. I will link in the description of the video. What else? This does not try to replace the Go examples. Just a name I found. This is a different thing, okay? And it's still pretty good and very relevant. Actually, I may use this right now. Custom errors. I may need to do a little research here. Just a thing I'm checking. All right, sorry about that. So let's get a quick check at the Go example, what it shows. Go example, in Go, it's the mechanical errors via an explicit separate return value. Yeah, by the way, I don't want to try to make it look like a different language. Of course, I have strong influence from other languages such as Python and a bit of Java. So yeah, there is an influence there, but I tried to make it Go fair, Golang, Go specific. Anyways, see the documentation for the errors package. Yeah, no thanks. Not yet, actually, because I do want to check something in a good old standard library package. The conventional errors are the last return value. And in value in the error position indicates there was no error. A sentinel error is a pre-declared variable that is used to signify a specific error condition. Yes. So pretty much I need sentinel errors all around my project. We can wrap errors with a higher level errors to add context. The simplest way to do this is with the %w verb in fntLF. Function wrapped errors create a logical chain. Error is to check that a given error or any error in its chain matches a specific error value. This is especially useful with the wrapped or nested errors, allowing you to identify specific error types or sentinel errors in a chain of errors. Let me see. MECT. So when is this, I'm especially interested in this because I tried, it didn't really work when I tried to do this. So if I understood what it's saying is that thanks to this, we are wrapping a new error, but we are wrapping a pre-existing sentinel error. So what I understand is that now this, if I do some error is, should return true if I'm checking with error power, but I may get this wrong. Now, and indeed, when we hit argument 4, we should hit this one that I'm interested. Meaning, when the I is 4, I should say now it is dark. But wait, who wrote this? Like, what does this mean? Okay, now it's dark. F worked. What does it print this? F worked 10. Failed. Okay. T is ready. Yeah, because we call him make T and it will fail if it's 2 or 4, right? T is ready. T is ready. We should buy T. Index 2. T is ready. Now it's dark. Okay. But why didn't work on it? Maybe I didn't do it properly. Actually, let's do this already. Let me just change the song because I don't like this song. So where can I put this on the example? For exceptions. Error simple. Hold on, let me see how I did this the other day. Yeah. Let's see that this should work. Import. Actually, no. Func main. We just print hello world. Okay, it works. I mean, it works. I just wanted to see that Golang is able to run this quickly. So I want to see this. Let me try a bit. Reference. Let's put this here, there, just for later. Import errors. And oh no, I didn't. Var error base error, right? Then could I do this? Sorry, can I do this? Error error validation, right? And if I do FMT, is actually more like no base error, up error. And so then I more like want to do like this. It's like the opposite I want to do. Oh, I didn't. Error validation. And then I want to do var error let's do not greater than yep. And let's just see what happens if I do this, right? Func func it's gonna return an error. What's happening? It's already. See, I can't put the mouse on the... Okay, now yes, this thing. Okay, val int switch val case 1 return error base. Case 2 return error validation. Case 3, yeah, to that, yes, tab. Case, I think it's like this, right? Return errors, no, unknown error, right? It's default, I think. Good. For E in a range. Due, tre, quattro. Okay, let's see what happens. Okay. And now I want to do this, right? E per well, let's do this. E R R else if error is validation. Let's see what happens. Unknown error. Look at this. Error is base. Error is base. Evaluation. So it does work. And if I do, for example, what does this do? If I just pass. Okay. So it works like normal error chain in all the programming languages. So for example, so this is the base. So in reality, actually you need to do this upside down, where the diff of the error, it's on the top, or the child, the most, the lower of the hierarchy of the error should be on top. So in this case is this, because this is kind of inheritance, even if it's not real inheritance, but it kind of works the same, right? So this, what it's doing, at the moment we have this air base. Yes, something like that. But then this has this, and then this, right? It's like family tree of errors, like many other programming languages work, right? It works the same like other programming languages. So it's interesting. Let's try to see if it's true. I need to just put this a moment. I need to just swap. If okay, and then on this, as if there's a 0 and the base goes 0. So if it's greater, so if this type of errors goes 0, then this one. So now what I'm expecting to see. Yeah. So the first, in case 1, it returns the base, and it won't hit this if clause, right? Because it does this, it goes here. It will not hit this one, it goes here, right? So it's a less specific error, it's a base error. The second case does not hit here, it stops earlier, and in this case, it stops earlier. Now I'm wondering, could this be done in a if else clause? So let's do fmin print line. Can I do this in doesn't matter. Okay. Okay, I want to write the same, but in switch. In a switch case. Switch. Guys, give me some. I don't think this is how it works, huh? Impossible task which does not implement error. Maybe it should not be a pointer. What if I do this? But let me just not do the same. And this goes on top. Yeah, it still works. So we're done with the normal if else, base, validation, greater. So it works. Good. Okay. Let's switch the keyboard. Okay. Come on. Simple one. Good. So after these notes for this, this means You can really chain errors, and maybe all of what I want to do is partially not needed. But I'm thinking if we want to use this, we may want to use this. We may want to use this methodology for our advantage. So I thought you couldn't do this. Fine, it does not matter for now. Let's carry on. There is another article of the Go example. Go example custom errors. It's possible to define a custom error types by implementing the error method. Then here's a variant on the example above to use a custom to explicitly represent an argument error. Adding this method next implemented error interface. Yep. So I just need to have an interface, and this becomes an error. Return our custom error. So you need to create as a pointer, the struct as a pointer, and this is an error. Error as style is more advanced version of error is. It checks that a given error in order in its chain matches a specific error type and converts to a value of that type, also returning true. If the true, there is no match. There is error as type. Let me see. Please examine the tree of its first argument, looking for error that matches the second. It reports whether it finds a match. It should be used in reference to simple equality checks. This is bad, so this is better than this. Okay. Because the former will succeed if error wraps blah blah blah. As type examines the tree of its argument, looking for an error whose type matches its type argument. If it succeeds, it returns the corresponding value of the type and true. Otherwise, it returns the zero value of the type and false. Path error. Okay. Yeah, so it's doing inference. Infers, I don't know if it's correct. Infer the error. So if it's okay, you know, but it returns the struct. Here's an example. My error. It's an error implementation includes a timer message. Func oops, and returns an error of my error. And I don't understand then what as type versus us. What is this us? Us finds the first error in error tree that matches target, and if one is found, sets the target to the error value and returns true. Otherwise, it returns false. For most users, prefers us type. As is equivalent to as type, but sets its target argument rather than returning the matching error and doesn't require its target argument to implement error. The consists of error itself. A tree consists of error itself, followed by the errors obtained by repeatedly calling unwrap error on unwrap error method. Calling each unwrap error on unwrap error method. When error wraps multiple errors, as examines error followed by depth first traversal of its child. It doesn't seem very performant. Okay, yeah, need to do this. Customers can implement a method as to match against error the error steps, providing default matching of error as. This is interesting, by the way, the join one. So when you join two errors, that error could take shape of, it pretty much becomes both errors at the same time. So it both will succeed in this check. So there's as type, is, join, and new. Error support indicates that a request operation cannot be performed because it is unsupported. For example, a call to OS link when using a file system that does not support hard links. Function and methods should not return this error, but should instead return an error including appropriate context that satisfies. Either by directly wrapping error unsupported or by implementing an is method. Function and methods should document the cases in which functions and methods should document the cases. Is there a way to see the source code? Oh, there is. Oh, I'm just curious because Okay, I just want to check one thing. Just want to check what's inside the OS link. Okay. What is the link error? The link error is in the OS package. Link error records an error during link. Okay. So yes, some values. 4 values actually. It's the error. Implements the error interface. Unwraps. That's it. What? One thing is, so in this guide it says let's try to use custom error, because here it says it's a more advanced version. However, it checks the given error on any of its chain. Hold on. Function, class type. Oh, okay, let's try to implement one custom error very quick. Cost error simple. Okay. Go package main func main print hello. Type custom error. Error is an error, right? And then we create the error interface. So this become an actual error. Return fmt sprint f custom error custom error is I forgot to get the struct. Var db error errors new db mock error. Yes, import this db error db error all on my error this, yeah. So this does not work, which is very strange. But if we use instead, okay, errors as type, then we need to make as a generic a pointer to custom error, my error. Okay. Else, I find it. What the F is still not working? And here we can say code int because this is what I want to do, by the way. I want to put a custom code that's going to be like an HTTP return status code. Yeah, for as type works, custom error. Okay, this works. I'm thinking nested error fmt error. Yes, my error. fmt print fmt print f. Error is okay. Want to see the type? Okay, so that it still works. There's chaining of how they call it. Hold on, there's a name for it. We can wrap errors with a higher level errors to add context. So wrapping still work with a custom error. What I don't understand though, could we do the same with structs? This I wanted to do. Okay. What if specific custom error struct code int This is where I'm not sure if this no, I don't want this. I want it still do the DB error. Oh, so if I embed it, if I'm doing embedding, it needs. Struct with that implements. Now, how can I do error chaining of custom errors? Because I think I'm getting very, very confused and I'm over engineering things, but I mean, I'm learning, so it's fine, right? This custom error chaining Go is done by making your custom error type wrap another error. In Go, chaining is not based on inheritance like Python, instead is based on error string for message and wrap for the wrapped calls. Maybe it's unwrap. The idea. If you want a custom error to be part of an error chain, your struct should usually have a field like error and implement. Then let's error is and error as walk down the chain. Oh, okay. Got it. Now I understand what is the wrap method. First of all, I didn't implement the specific error. If you want a custom error to be Oh, I don't know. I lost some part of the conversation or what? Ah, no, I didn't. Come on. That's very interesting. Fuck hell. Before I do this. Okay, just to understand some wrap, just you say, okay, the parent of myself, it's the error I have in. Why does not work this? I don't understand. It's not working. Hold on a second. Let's try to use copy the. Okay. Still give the same error, huh? Oh. I'm not sure I understand this. So the error has. To me, it's more. I need to do something like that. Let's. Oh. And then I have to do. Yeah. So in both cases, it says yes, it's true. And if I do this, does it work? False. Okay. Anyways, more idiomatic pattern. Come on. It's a new version of Golang. Usually you define a customer type for context and wrap the underlying error. Important difference from fmint error. The fmt error f creates a wrapper error for you. Your custom type does the same thing manually by implementing unwrap. So these are conceptually similar. Yes, indeed. Now, if you implement it correctly, yes. When you use this when you want to check whether the chain contains a specific sentinel error. Because I'm starting to think what my idea is completely useless and actually not a good, maybe not even a good idea. Because I was misunderstanding a little bit how the errors actually work in Golang. Sure, here's a minimum custom chained error example in Go. Error struct, okay. Implements the error interface. It can do unwrap, which change to its underlying error. We return an error by doing the thing. Okay, now that it does this correctly. And by the way, it's not the first AI that does not show the as type method, which it says to use. It's recommended to use this. So maybe I don't want to do so much chaining of exception, honestly. I am more concerned to use proper create error with proper context, meaning fields and struct, and because what I found also tedious is to create a simple exception. Either you need almost no code, which is using like errors new. It's very small, but the use case is very small. Like I need to do a lot of boilerplate just for this. Kind of annoying. Can I talk with this? My idea is actually the following. I have a big backend API which which creates custom exceptions really deep in a funnel. Example, from endpoint caller and okay, I just wanted to what's idea. That's a resume idea, but it's just a smaller refinement. You're going to put this customer but why making it deepest layers? Fuck that. Deepest layers are HTTP aware, blah blah blah. This is exactly why I didn't do that at the beginning. Because it was you put the status code because I had this idea in the beginning. Maybe from the repository you put the status code, right? But then because the HTTP it's now on the repository layer, you shouldn't know. I understand this. And that's why I'm not going to use the net HTTP library to put. I'm just going to put codes. It's a 400, it's a 402. And from here, I'm going to tell which one it could be. Okay? Which is true, though, that, however, the status code could change. That was probably my thought process. Meaning that you put in here a 409, but depending on what you're doing, it's maybe a 401 or a 404. Maybe what I need more is not the actual status code. It's whether I need this. Probably the thing. I can return the error message back to the client, or I should not. I don't even know how to explain what I need to, but okay. Yes, you can. A better pattern is usually repository service layers return to my application errors. Controller handle maps those errors to HTTP storage codes. That keeps your lowest level. Yeah, this is correct. Because you have different protocols as well. Recommendation design. But I do want to. Yeah, so using strings, yeah, as a way of like codes. And the cool part is that they are constant, which is pretty good. Okay, these are the strings of type kind, custom up error. You put the kind inside. If not error. If it's not needed, sorry. Boom. Custom up error. Sentinel demand errors. Error user not found. Service get user. You create a new error. You see what I mean? It's, you need to wrap a new error. That is correct. Oh, yeah, just by the way, cannot find kind internal. Maybe it's cooking something. Error as. Actually, this is because. So. I can't. So actually this is what I thought to do, kind of. What I could recommend in practice. We are cooking something. Because if I get this right, and I swear to God, I was thinking something like that. Because the cool part is that, hold on, all of this, what I don't like. I think I still don't like this. This is what I don't like. I think it's almost kind of good, but I want to also use the up error everywhere. Just we have really just one type of error, or maybe multiple, but why? Because let me cook. Before move on to use the kind, I want to do one example because I want to understand error chaining. We can use error chaining for one. Understand if that error. No, one reason is to I don't want to. In some cases, I don't want to lose the original error. For example, the database error. If you do that, look, what I was saying. Here we are in a repository. I'm doing SQL. Okay. SQL query. There is a database error. I may not necessarily want to log it here. Okay, I want to this very simple. And even if you log it or not log it does not matter right now. I just return the error as it is. I'm losing that error. Instead, which could be important, right? Because maybe the database is fucked. And so, and a moment of the service layer, I'm okay to have this user not found, but I also don't want to lose. I don't know how to explain this. I think it's just better to do it. But it's almost like similar. Let me try. Error theory one. Because I want to call it. Let's just commit what I have. What is doing? Okay. See, I still having issues. Git status. Git commit. Error theory simple one. Let's push it. Error 31, and then go package main front main. For example, I want to type up error. I'm okay. I like the idea of up error. So it's gonna have an error message. It's going to be a string. Func, yeah. Kind. For now, kind is going to be. Do I want the code kind? Collect kinds. this, and then we do the unwrap. Let me write it so I up error on wrap returns the error return. Okay, good. I want to check one thing of the DB because there was an error. Okay, PGX no rows, right? I want to just in a moment. Perfect. Now var air type 1 errors new yeah. Error, see, not rows. And actually I can say no, it's not running this one. Okay. Actually, what does it do here? It's even better. I want to use as type rather than as. Perfect. So it compiles. It does understand that else event print unexpected server error. Cut. Print line up error type is okay. The up error type is no record found. So we're cooking somewhere. We're doing something. Can we say fmt print line fm print f? Okay, let's just see what happens here. Error 2 is is this or not? How to make errors is chain up because I have created so I expect that to chain up to pgx error no rows. I don't even want to necessarily chain up the original error. Yes, you can chain if you custom error. Okay. Okay, fuck it, who cares, man? It's gonna be. Well, actually, you're right. Hold on. It is true. So actually, I meant error 1 is. No, it actually works, so I made it confused. Fuck it. No, it works like as expected. Okay. What can I do with this information I just learned? I don't know.